Saints fans, the spirit was there, the skills were not. Let's talk about the Friday night, I won't say blockbuster this week, Spuds game, Friday night against the Blues, down by 15 points. Pretty disappointing, probably the most disappointed I've been all year about a loss. How are you guys feeling?
Sammy, start us off, mate.
Okay, well, I'll talk about the game theme first because I want to put it out there that what we are doing off the field, I think is better than any other club. Like some of the initiatives we're taking, fantastic cause, raised a lot of money. It's a fantastic issue. So I think we're doing things off the field really well, but the game itself did not live up to the hype. It was, I wouldn't say it was a tough watch, but it certainly wasn't the best. But, you know, the effort was there, the intent was there, but the execution was way, way off the mark.
I think that's, how everyone's feeling. Such a big build-up too. And, we raised a lot of money, so thanks to everyone for donating through Spuds Right and through the Black Dog Institute, so that was amazing. It's the first time this year where I feel like it's a loss that we could have changed. There were moments in this game where
Very winnable game.
We could have probably walked away from it and thought, okay, we didn't play our best, but we won. And that's the first time I could have said that all year because they did give us opportunity after opportunity in that third and fourth to win. First quarter, 4 goals each. Third quarter, I think 2 goals each. And then last quarter, 1 goal each. So it was really that 15 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes where Kerno got off the leash a little bit and they kicked a few consecutive goals. So I thought it was a tight tussle. It seemed like both teams were almost afraid to win the game, like a little bit. Very defensively minded. Carlton did flood. We did. It was tight for a lot of the game, and we're starting to have a bit of a trend with Carlton on playing some pretty tough, tight contested games. Football games. Yeah. Definitely
wouldn't have been the prettiest game to watch as a neutral supporter, but
who cares about neutrals, though?
Yeah, no, exactly. Honestly. Right. I think, we got, there was that 15-minute patch where we were down a bit, but I liked the way we fought back into the game. I just thought that last quarter really just came down to Carlton took a few chances and we just didn't take ours. You know, we had some decent looks that we just didn't take, like Max Holt running into goal, hurt, Steele out in the full. There was a couple where it's just like if a few moments go our way, a few don't go theirs. Maybe we're looking at a different result, but I mean, honestly, I'm happy for the Carlton fans because they can finally get a week off of abusing their own players, so that's good for them.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I thought I was going to get a bit of a harsher reception after the game because I pumped it up. I didn't pump us up. I said it was a 50-50 going in. I was like... And I knew if we were going to lose, it was going to happen the exact way that it happened. It was going to be Mackay and Kerno combining for 5+ goals. They kicked 6 out of their 11. They kicked half their score. That's all it comes down to is their big game players kind of stood up in big moments. Kerno, when the game was level, he broke it away, and then Mackay sealed it with a goal from the boundary that he missed. He would miss otherwise, but he kicked that one, and we missed some critical moments. So lack of experience in some areas, their experience rose to the top, and it was 15 points. Some saying as acting like we lost by 10 goals, but I think we can. It's one of those losses that I feel like if we play them again, maybe at Marvel, could be a different result.
We talked about like the Bulldogs loss, the Brisbane loss. Like we were just in here, like how could we possibly lose by 10 goals and just show nothing all day? That was not the case with this game. I don't think. Like we were there for the fight. It just like I said, a few things didn't go our way. I like what Ross raised in his press conference about experience. It's not an excuse, but the facts are we had Steele and McRae going up against Cripps and Hewitt. So it's like, okay, there's a pretty evenly matched, well, maybe not evenly matched, but in terms of experience, evenly matched, duo there. But then you've got Chera and Walsh against Boxall and Garcia. And the experience for us, it's just not there, Boxall and Garcia both, they play... They're just young players, so some weeks they're really good, some weeks, they're average. I thought they were both okay, but, it's pretty tough for 2 players in their first and second year to come up against 150 gamers. Walsh is a number 1 pick, Chera's a top 10 pick. Like, that's just the reality of the matter, and this is the type of thing that's going to happen when you're developing your list.
Yeah, if you ask most Carlton supporters, their frustration is they believe that this team that they've got is in the window, that they are in that zone where Collingwood are, where they should be going to challenge and win it now. We're obviously not in that. We're at different trajectories right now. We're in different zones. They're supposed to be in the zone of winning it. We're in the zone of building it. So for us to be couple goals off, playing the inexperience and getting games into them. That's the positive side of it. The downside is these are the sort of games that they're marquee games. It's at the MCG, 65,000. These are the ones where you go bang and you win it, you play good football on the big stage and you get more of those games. But you lose it, you only kick 9 goals.
Yeah.
You know, from a commercial point of view, it's not the result we wanted.
Yeah. I think an easy out is hanging your hat on, well, we've got young kids and whatever else, but
it's not an out, it's just a fact.
Yeah, it's a fact, but it's not the reason. I mean, we had 3 senior players whose footy IQ was non-existent on Friday in Steele, McRae and Hill.
You reckon Steele?
I thought Steele and McRae played pretty well.
Steele had a chance to kick a goal and didn't. Tried to kick it in.
That's one poor decision, though.
Yeah, that's still enough. And then in the back line, took 30 seconds to kick a ball out. He's slow. His decision making is poor. He doesn't take any risks. McRae just kicks it up at chimney when he's under pressure. And then Hilly had a really, really poor game. I think our senior players let us down. And it's whenever the senior players let us down, everyone else plays badly. That's the common theme throughout the year. And I think they were poor, and it's easy to say, oh, well, they got how many ever contested possessions and whatever else, but they're not damaging. Like Hill's disposals weren't damaging, McRae's disposals weren't damaging.
They could have been if he had hit the bloody target.
And you know when you're streaming into the goal square, basically 45 out, and then you're trying to kick into the pocket to Caminiti. I don't know. That just looks really bad. It's really poor decision making under pressure. So I think the footy IQ from some of the senior players is poor.
Yeah,
or was poor on Friday.
I'm certainly not a Hill hater. I think he gets way too much flack, but that was probably the worst game I've seen him play.
No. I like Brad Hill, but Friday was horrible from him.
Yes, some very poor decision making. The skills, I just couldn't believe it. Like, just so unlike him. 15-meter kicks, like you were saying before, just like, how are we not hitting those? It felt like we missed out on chances of getting goals because of his poor skills.
100%. And but then you can kind of look in across the whole board, and like even that Machida Owens chance from like 40 out, and he's kicked it like he's 5 meters out, and they mark it in the goal square, and I'm like, why aren't you kicking it into the 5th row back? It's just moments like that where that composure is so important. Just take a breather. Like, you're on this stage for a reason. You're playing for a reason, you know? You can beat your man. And then we get sucked into our heads and we play this negative football, like when the game's on the line. You know, that's the moments where you go and you play your natural game. And Naz tried to do it. Naz, to me, he was at times unbelievable. I couldn't believe that first 5-10 minutes when Carlton were pressing and he was flying and marking and intercepting and rebounding. If it wasn't for him in that first 5-10 minutes...
Well, he's a difference maker. He takes on the game, and so does Sinclair. Whereas a lot of other players just sort of go into their shell. It's really safe, uncontested football, which you can't do against Carlton. I mean, Carlton's skills the skills on Friday were horrible across the board. I don't think they were much better from Carlton. The only difference was they were hitting targets on the chest in the forward 50 rather than above the head. Yeah,
they had 2 Coleman medalists to kick too, so that's a good out if you've got one, you know.
Yeah, no, very disappointing. I want to point on one positive that I absolutely loved. Return of Philippou.
Yes.
I mean, it's surprising not to see him in the midfield, but it makes sense coming off of injury. We've got Boxall and Garcia in there already. Kicked, like you said, ice cold, just some clutch moments in the last quarter. Going back, being composed. Like, I think the last time he played was against Carlton. He had the chance to win us the game. He missed. Luckily, Higo came up clutch at the end there, but it was nice to see in that last quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, you said that some people didn't like the way he celebrated or something.
Yeah. Some people think, wait until you win a grand final to do that or this and that. We need more of that. We need more of that. We need to be pumped up. Look at Sinclair when he kicked that goal. It was a beautiful goal from Sinclair, roving and running into an open goal. That's the difference though, isn't it? That opportunity wasn't there. Sinclair created it.
Yeah.
A lot of our players wait for the opportunity to fall into their lap, and then they're like, I'll take it. The best players, the good players, the opportunity doesn't exist unless they make it. Make the run, make the tackle, make the kick. You know? We've got too few that do that. There's Sinks, there's Naz. I mean, Higo, in a forward sense, like his first goal, he created that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, no one else kicks that goal.
Yeah.
So we need more players that are willing to create, make the moment, don't wait for it.
They're not so risk averse. I'd rather you have a crack and completely capitulate than not at all.
100%.
Take some safe, 40-metre kick sideways, which we seem to be doing a lot of.
I thought in the last we did, toward more in the beginning of that quarter, we were trying to take the game on a bit. Even when Naz got caught and the crowd went crazy.
Yeah.
At least, like he was trying to do something there. But yeah, it was like maybe those last 5 minutes when the screws really tightened, when we started to buckle a bit. And, you know, like, even though it was senior players making mistakes as well, you've got a lot of young kids out there as well. So it's like,
at some
pressure.
I mean, at some point we're going to have to just say that's the 22 that went out, whether they're old, they're young, whatever. That is the team that Ross picked to win the game, yeah? In the last 6 minutes, I turned to Monk and I'm like, we're chipping it around like we're milking the clock.
Yeah.
We've got 2 goals to win this game. You know what I mean? Like, it genuinely was like, Wilkie was going back. I know we're trying to switch it, but if you switch it, you've got to then go quick. Yeah. Don't switch it and then take your time and then switch it back and vice versa. That's taken... I reckon took 4 or 5 minutes off the clock in that last 10 minutes.
As a result of that, some of the forward entries were a lot cleaner and more dangerous because we weren't just bombing it in. I know what you mean though. Sometimes we overused it and we didn't go quick enough.
Yeah, it's like we went quick when we shouldn't have, and then we went slow. And it's just like finding that middle ground.
Got to get the right gears for that. Yeah, definitely.
Were you going to say something?
I was going to say it's because no one wanted to take on the game. No one was stepping up and willing to take on the game, bar a select few. I mean, I think Naz and Sinks were pretty incredible. Yeah, and they're the players that, you know, pave that way. They take on the game. They're the players to look at.
Yeah.
But safe football doesn't win you games. Fremantle's perfect example of that. Look how well they're doing this year. Safe football doesn't win games.
Yeah, well, I mean, I put up a post earlier today because I don't know if you saw, but Matthew Lloyd criticised us in the last 24 hours. He said he was glad that Carlton won the game because they play football the right way.
Oh, jeez.
So I put up a post and I put it to the Saints faithful because we hear a lot of outside noise about our brand, and it's not particularly from Saints fans complaining about us being a tough contested style football team. It's everyone else, right? Which I don't know why they're so invested. You know, apparently we're irrelevant, but I see us being talked about quite a bit. And I put a post out basically saying, would you rather us play daring, exciting football, kick 20 goals and lose by 6 goals, or play tough, contested, low-scoring football, or just not even low-scoring, but just maybe not easy on the eye, but it wins more games than not? What do you want? And it was overwhelming. The Saints are just like, I just want to win. I just want a team that goes out and wins. And I think people forget we're playing to our strengths right now. If we had Max King, do we go that slow in the last 5 minutes?
Yeah,
probably not. Probably not. We probably put it on his head a few more times, give him a chance to run and jump. If we have a more stacked midfield, do we play more proactive at the bounce? Probably, instead of tagging and being more man on man. Yeah. So I think Ross has created a sort of a game plan that suits what he's got. Yeah.
And like you said, just who cares about the outside noise? If people don't like the way we play, fine, don't watch us. You know, we're 4-5 with a young developing list. I think we're doing all right. It would have been super nice to win on Friday night. We gave ourselves a chance to win, but if we win, I guarantee you the Saints fans will not care one bit. And a lot of the time, I saw a lot of comments on that post saying the two sort of go hand in hand. When we do win, we generally are playing better, brand of footy. And when we're losing, it's just because we're not quite getting exactly where we want to go. The Gold Coast game last year where it was 45-47 or something. Ross said in his presser, we're not really trying to play that way.
No, we had 60 inside. We have 60 inside 50s in those games, and 10 marks inside 50. So you have the metrics where you're on another day that's a 14 goals to 10 win.
I just think a lot of people are saying, "Oh, I don't like St Kilda's brand," without really even knowing what it is. I don't think any of us really know exactly what our brand is yet because we're still building it, So, yeah.
I mean, key metrics on the night, if we're going to go into Ross territory, I think we lost clearances, but not by that much that it was worrying. Tackles, we laid 76 to their 60, so our pressure was on. Yeah. It's probably one of our higher tackle counts for the year. But that passage where Walsh walked through 4 of them, and he kicked it to do you remember that?
Yeah. So, I've got a theory on that. Jimmy Webster was petrified. He had every chance to absolutely take him out and didn't. He pulled
that was
back.
a different moment.
Yeah, but I know which one. Yeah.
I've seen that footage where he runs around and kicks it long.
Yeah, and he sort of goes in and then kind of pulls back but sticks his arm out.
I know, and it's funny hearing people saying, why didn't he go through him? It's like, you know got 6 weeks.
Yeah, because what happened last time? Even if he doesn't get concussed, players now don't know what to do, and that there's a bigger conversation to be had there. But that's sort of indicative of the murkiness of the rules at the moment. But I mean, ultimately, you look at the Carlton side. They've got a Brownlow medalist, 2 common medalists, 2 number 1 picks,
all Australian.
Walsh Wiedering, all Australian fullback.
Don't forget they've also got Blake Acres.
They've got a lot of pieces, and they're also very tall timber. We forget TDK. We don't have a key forward. We don't have a key forward. There's no key forward up there. Sherpa Sharman's not a key forward.
They're forwards, aren't they? They're not key forwards.
So, there was always the chance that we were going to get killed aerially, which, to an extent was true.
Yeah.
Experience sort of beat out at the end, but I don't think it's, it's not a drubbing.
No,
by any stretch of the mind.
I don't think it's a loss that you. I mean, don't misconstrue what we're saying. Saying as if you're watching, I don't think we're saying the season's over by any means. We're not.
No,
I think it's one of those.
We're pissed at the result, not at the performance, though.
No, it's like it's a result where we really could have won that game.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
We put ourselves in a position to win. I want to circle back to Pooh for 1 sec, just because he was played forward. What do we think of that? Is that just because he come back from injury? Is he potentially going to push a Boxall or a Garcia out and go into the midfield?
Well, it depends. Hunter Clark and Zach Jones had huge games. So did Toby Jones, in the VFL. Massive. All three of them will be in contention.
Yeah.
So it just depends. Collard started as a sub, came on, was very stiff. Maybe Higo doesn't play this week because he was subbed out.
Yeah.
I don't exactly know why. And he was sick going into the game.
And then, I think that was the plan, and that's why Collard was the sub.
Okay, so it's,
as far as I know. Yeah.
If Higo gets up, then maybe Collard comes out for a break because he's had a 4 or 5 week spell and he's done enough to be like he'll be right, but wouldn't be
Collard coming out.
But for him to go back to the VFL and maybe kick a bag and find some confidence, I don't think that's a problem.
I mean, Pooh forward is basically Mason Wood replacement, is it not? Because we would have played him forward in that game anyway.
Yeah.
So
and we missed him. We missed Mason Wood in the air and on the wings.
Yeah,
no, for sure. You shout him out. I've been questioning his performances the last few weeks, but Ryan Burns was very good. Your man.
Yeah, love him. Mate, it's just so nice to see on the big stage too for a much maligned player to, he went at 92% or something, 22 disposals.
You know what he went the week before? 43%.
Yeah, so
it's a huge
unbelievable return, and I dare say he was under more pressure this week with some of his possessions, and they weren't cheap little 15 metres. He was going on the angles into the centre of the ground under heat and hitting them with speed. It was just awesome to watch. So
he just works so hard.
Physically as well, I think he's a bit more confident. He's he's tackling harder. His marking's better. I don't know if playing alongside in the back half, like someone like Stocker's given him a bit of inspiration to be a bit more physical, but
I think it's his work rate.
His work rate's we all know. His tank's immense.
His work rate's phenomenal. He'll never die wandering. Yes, he might have 8 disposals and be kicking at 40% efficiency, but at least you're getting 100% from him every week. Yes, he has some bad days, but I'd rather you have a bad day and give me everything than have a bad day and you're sort of giving a little bit but not everything.
I think there's certain players that you can say obviously first selected, and that's Naz, Sinks, Marshall probably, Steele, McRae. But in terms of the bottom tier players, I think it's Ronnie Burns, Max Hall. I think they're locks every week for Ross at the moment.
Yeah. Just your personal opinion, or you just think
I think they're Ross line players based on his Fremantle days, and they had stars, but then they also were sprinkled with a few just B, C grade players that just did the job.
Yeah.
And then even when we made grand finals, the Robert Eddies, McWalters, Sam Gilbert types that didn't have the most amazing skills, but just fucking went in hard.
I think it's leadership quality as well, because Burnsy was captain of Sandy, was he not?
Was he? No, I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. In his junior years, he was captain.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And Max Hall, that second goal of the game from close to 50 on the angle, I was right behind that. He flushed that. Bumped into his mum pre-game as well, and she said she loves the pod and loves that I pump him up every week.
Beautiful.
So hopefully
I heard from Simon Boxall as well. He's a big fan of the pod.
Hopefully I'll bump into Ronnie Burns' family at some point.
They'd love you.
I've got to release some merch for him.
Whose family don't you want to bump into? Is there anyone?
Nah, I think I've pumped up every St Kilda listed player over the journey. Yeah.
All right, Tom de Koning. It's a talking point. What do we think? He played. I thought the ruck battle was pretty even.
That was an awesome watch.
I was talking to someone about it before, saying, de Koning, why do you need a Marshall's? Looks good. The battle was 50-50. It's Marshall's 30. De Koning's 25?
Yeah.
Marshall is great. He's just not going to last forever. Realistically, if all goes to plan, when we're in the window, Marshall will
yeah.
probably be retired and TDK will be in his prime.
Or Marshall's just less ruck and just is a second tall, third tall for us, which would be fine.
Yeah,
because we know he's capable.
I certainly want Rowe to hang around if we sign TDK. I'm not trying to write him off or anything.
Yeah. It was funny pre-game, like Ross was not watching the Saints boys at all. He was just facing the Carlton centre bounce and just watching TDK tap it to Cripper.
Yeah,
and Ross is thinking, make the most of it, Cripper, because that's not happening much longer.
His tap work is excellent. But if you could choose between DeConing on 1.7 mil a year or Lee Collier on, let's say, 700 and Miles Bergman on 8 to 9, what would you take? I'd probably take Lear and Bergman.
We've got the space for all
We can do all three, man.
Yeah.
We can do all three. I can tell you that.
Then the other
Going
question
up to 19.5 mil.
How do we keep other players? Because we have a pretty young core, and eventually these players are going to require a higher salary.
Yeah.
So it beggars the question that this may be a future problem that we're creating for ourselves.
Well, what
deal's going to be
say, well,
front-ended.
why am I not worth 1.7?
TDK would be heavily front-ended, so it's probably more 1.4 over the journey, which is still a lot of money, I know. Yeah. But a ruck or just, I don't know why I did that. Like,
that's like...
Talk to the hand. No, I think we're in a position to do it all. I think Bassett said that, we're going to hit the draft, we're going to sign our youngsters, and we're going to get free agents. We're in a very aggressive mindset.
It's just...
I don't think they're linked where you do one and can't do the other.
Yeah. The fact that we would pay, in terms of like draft picks, 0 for him, that's sort of why you'd go overs, because like, look, we've gone after every free agent in the last 3-4 years, it feels like. It sounds like one of them is keen to come. He's a good player, like, according to Max Gawn, a generational ruckman, and, I would consider Max Gawn pretty good. So I think we just jump at the opportunity, and I do think we can get them all. We have the cap space. The salary cap's going up to almost 20 million. Like, you've got room to... Realistically, you need to sign, like, I heard them talking about it on Fireball this morning, like 30 players. The rest that you're on rookie contracts, etc. So I think we have the means to do it. Obviously, it sounds like a massive figure, and it's new, like uncharted territory for the AFL, like these huge deals. But I think I don't want this to be clipped in 10 years and it doesn't work out for us. I think it will work out for us. Yeah.
Think about it. Say from right now or by the end of this season, how many of our players on the list would be north of 700,000 a year that you would pay that much? Naz, Sinks,
King.
Marshall,
Steele's
Wilkie?
Steele would be on 700 plus.
Wilkie, yeah, Steele, okay. I mean, we know Hill's probably on a lot. That's just a fact. Or maybe he's not anymore. I don't know.
His contract would have gone down.
Yeah,
he's
so let's say he's not.
Now.
Let's say he's not.
Yeah.
But I mean, then there's also, well, who's not going to be on the list next year? There's going to be a few.
So we'll make up space as well.
Yeah.
We'll trade probably.
I mean, Ross Lyon is good friends with Chris Scott, so he can ask for some tips on how to save money.
Yeah.
Oh, you just brown paper bags, Yeah.
Uber
Carlton's
Eats,
got that as well.
Finance.
Uber Eats vouchers.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting though. I think it's been quite the talking point.
I just think people don't understand that, like, we're getting TDK for that amount, not just for TDK, but also because it's a statement. We're taking a prized possession from a big Vic club, which we've never done, and also it probably entices other players to go, oh, St Kilda are serious, that actually landed him.
Yeah.
So, like, Bergman and these sort of guys, Lee will be like, okay, there's something actually happening here.
So you're saying we are taking TDK? That sounds...
I'm just saying,
almost determined.
No, well, I really want him.
Yeah, the way you phrase it made it sound like it had happened.
I'm just saying the bigger picture is it's not just him; it's also the other doors that he opens.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
No. Anything else to touch on from the game?
How good he sinks.
Yeah.
Just let's
The
give
long
him.
sleeves.
Also,
long sleeves.
Callum Wilkie toiled pretty hard against Curnow, and Curnow was fantastic. Surprise. His great
First
game
half,
is the game against us.
First half, it was.
I think he evened it out again.
And then
he was pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Level on points at the end, I'd say.
We would have been another 3 goals if it wasn't for him that back line.
Yeah,
100%.
So
we
credit to that man. Love him.
We get too used to the Sinclair, the Wilkie performances. Like they always deserve.
So they do the same. They're amazing week on, week out. And even for Higgins, for the time that he was on, he was great.
Yeah, we missed him big time in that last quarter. To just
a little firecracker in the forward.
Just a little moment of magic because he finds goals out of nothing in contest, and we just couldn't
I mean,
we wanted the perfect goal in that last quarter, you know?
Case in point, round 24 last year. But last thing, it's not the reason we lost, but God, it was frustrating. Some of the free kicks they were getting directly in front of goal. There was one where...
I still don't get the Mackay one.
Where Ronnie... Wilson.
Wilson spoiled it. I don't know that one.
I was sitting behind the goals on level 2. There was just no reality. That was a free goal for them. Just a goal for nothing. So
I can understand the confusion because like where I was sitting, it kind of looked like a push in the back. But then you saw the replay and it didn't. So I can understand. But, I mean, the umpire's been horrible for the entire year. In every single game, there's something
The Cosy Pickett trip on the weekend.
The Saad deliberate, I laughed. When we were tackling him and he didn't know where he was kicking it and he's just kicked it to the boundary and they gave it. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. It was our free kick, but I was laughing.
It's the stand rule. It's the dangerous tackling. It's just all these rules.
Did we give a 50 at all?
I don't recall. The bad umpiring is like, of course. It's just like when it's free kicks 20 metres out in front of goal, it's just like, well, you know, that can be the difference in
Owens
the game. It wasn't this week, but
Owens doesn't get those. Sharman doesn't get those.
Oh, but St Kilda won the free kick count.
Yeah, because we got like 8. We got like 8 in the back half.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's where the free kicks are and when they occur during the game. Otherwise, if you just say, oh, well, they run the free kick count, you don't watch football.
Yeah.
And like the one where Higgins threw the player out, took the mark, was identical to Mackay doing it to Howard, and that was a mark, and Higgins gave
that was a great
kick.
contest.
That was just strength. He just beat Saad, and it's a mark.
Yeah,
they gave it holding.
It was shocking to see Wilkie actually get a free kick. I reckon he never gets free kicks ever. Like when a forward and a defender are wrestling,
it's always
they're
the
never going to give the free kick to the defender.
No.
So I was glad he actually got one. But anyway, let's talk about Mosh man of the match.
Yeah, Mosh man of the match was pretty tight. There was a few options there. Naz took it out in the end. I think he was he's probably going to get. Would he get Brownlow votes in this game? Maybe one. It was a tight game.
Brownlow, he did well on the coaches' votes.
He got
maybe
5 or 6.
He could get one. He stands out.
Burns got a few. Philippo actually got a few, and obviously Sinclair. But Naz,
I voted for Sinclair.
Naz was just a couple. It was like literally within 5 votes. It was very close for Sinks. I know Sinks got it through the Saints one. The Sainer of the round was Sinks, and then Mosh
they were
man
the
of the
only
match
two Saints in the coaches' votes. So
yeah, it makes sense. I don't know. Well, how many is that for him now? 3.
It's a couple.
It's about 2 or 3 for McRae, 2 or 3 for Naz. We need more. That's a bit of a sign, isn't it? We're relying on too few still. We want a bit more of a spread.
Yeah.
We need.
It'll be nice.
Yeah, I wanted to put Rowe in there too, but I think he broke even with his opponent.
Yeah.
So
you could tell with Rowan there.
He was angry.
There was an extra 2 or 3% in the tank for him coming up against TDK.
He was watching TDK too much though. At some of the bounces, he was just focused on TDK, and he gave away a few frees, and I'm like...
A few of his efforts, though, like there was one maybe in the first quarter where he ran sprinted 15 metres to get a spoil in, punch it to the boundary, so that was great. He was really good.
Yeah, that's his... I don't know if that's his best game of the year, but slowly working his way back into form.
He's building.
Nice.
Building.
For sure. If you're dealing with hair loss, Mosh is here to help. With clinically proven treatments starting at just $24 a month, you can regrow your hair 100% online, no clinics needed, plus you'll get discreet delivery and unlimited support. Use code SaintsTV50 for $50 off your first treatment plan. Join over 60,000 Aussies already seeing results. Visit getmosh.com.au to get started. Let's get stuck into some Jake's Junk Mail.
Let's do it.
Jake is Junk Mail. Jake is Junk Mail. Jake is Junk Mail. Jake is Junk Mail.
Alrighty, let's get into it. This one is from Mitch. It's not really a question of sorts, but it's a really good deep dive into what you were talking about, the experience split. So he said not the W we wanted, but broke down the game from a different angle. Age bracket 18 to 22. We fielded 11. Blues fielded 5. So double there, more than double. Across the ground, age breakdown experience. Defence, 28 years or older, I think. I think everyone was over 28 apart from Naz, who's 21, if I'm not mistaken, in that back half. I don't think Burns, he played defence, didn't he? Was he more wing?
I think he was on the wing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mid 50-50 of 18 to 22 and 29 plus. Forward 50-50 of 18 to 22 and 22 to 26. It's a bit of a stretch with experience. Middle of the road is Burns, Stocker and Higgins. Plenty of positives to build on. Almost stole the win, but we were dominant most of the time. I felt Blues had more core experience between the 22 to 28 year bracket, which is obviously sort of peak for contention.
Yeah.
Onwards and upwards, something to reflect on.
Yeah.
There's a bit of perspective there, I think, you know.
Yeah.
We know where we're at. I don't think it's a shock that we're fielding a team like that.
I mean, like, Carlton should be winning that game, you know, from a Carlton point of view.
Yeah.
Like, they should win that game. I'm pretty proud of the effort. Like, again, disappointed with the result, but happy with the effort.
Well, I mean, if that's a supposed premiership contender or was.
Yeah.
They got some work to do. Probably more than us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they've got some work to do, and maybe we're not, you know.
I mean,
They're not too bad,
everyone has some work to do. If you're an
They
inch
beat
off, you're a
Geelong 2
mile
weeks
off
ago.
in the modern game.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it boils
Carlton.
down to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know who their other two wins are against? Last.
West Coast
VFL
Knights.
teams, I think. Yeah.
They lost to Richmond.
Anthony has got a question. As disappointing as it was on Friday to lose to Carlton of all teams, I feel more comfortable and calm about the rest of the season. Now we have youth, and the youth are getting an education. That being said, would you trial Ari Shawnmaker up forward?
Yes.
I've said that. I've said. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast, but I've said it on other shows. He is the Ben Graham, centre
Or on
half
a wing?
forward, or even on a wing, an attacking winger that can bomb it in. If he gets a few steps and he gets within 60, he's either going for goal and he's setting up beautifully.
Yeah.
You know.
It's an interesting one. Like, he has all the makings of a good key defender, and this isn't my opinion, but just from what I gather from reading like the VFL report every week, clearly with him, he needs to work on his defensive instincts and just everything defensively in his game, and that's what they talk about every week. Like, oh, we're seeing signs of improvements with the, you know, defensive instincts, whatever it is. So I think that's just not on the horizon, not in their line of sight.
Unless it's more like, you know, a Ross Lyon thing where it's like, look, we're going to allow you to attack if you get the fundamentals of defending right first.
Yeah.
So he's going to hone in on defense because his attack, you don't really need to fix that. There's nothing to learn there. That's just natural game for him.
That's naturally is what he's good at. That's why we picked him.
Yeah, 100%. This one's from Jack. What young players should the club put in our leadership group to set up to be a future captain? I mean,
Philippo's
the future
Definitely.
captain, I think, but in terms of, like, what's the leadership group going to look like in, say, 3-4 years' time?
I think Windhager.
Windhager will be in there.
Yep.
He'll probably be vice. I mean, he's got vice. I reckon he's got a chance to
I
do
love
that.
the way that he put his hand up to wear the number 2 as well.
Yeah.
I think that takes a bit of guts.
So Filippo, Windy, I mean, Garcia maybe.
Maybe. I mean, Owens. I'd throw his
Owens.
name up in the
Well,
mix.
who's going to be
Even
the
Sharman.
captain? I think Wilkie will be captain at some point.
But in 4 years'
Just-
time?
I just don't know if he's in the right age bracket, though.
It's kind of awkward because he's
Yeah.
almost he's almost the same age as Steele, isn't he?
I think he's
Or maybe even older?
2 years younger.
Or 2 years younger?
Yeah.
So it's like, do we change? Like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen within the next 12 months. But if it doesn't and Steele just continues to be captain, I think it then skips him. You know what I mean? I just don't think there's enough time. Unless Filippo just plays footy, focuses on that for the next 6 years and we don't rush him into
Yeah, no,
position.
so Steele and Wilkie are both 29.
Mm.
I would probably say Steele should hold on to it for another year or two.
Or it's
and then when Philippo's ready, you put him into it instead of having like a transition captain.
Could you do
It's like,
co-captains
let's have
next year?
Maybe.
Just
No, I think he's probably it'd be his 4th year, probably a bit young.
I mean,
I'd
Wilkie
wait a
could
bit.
play until he's 40 at this rate. He could be the next Dustin
True.
Fletcher. That guy just never gets injured.
Is he going to, not to, jinx it, but is he got a chance to break Jack Crisp's
I
record?
mean, that'd
Yes.
be awesome.
Like,
Still
how many
have-
is that in a row now for Wilkie? 100 and... He did over
150
100.
odd.
Yeah, it's nuts. And
Yeah.
Crisp did 221 or something?
Has Chris played every game since like debut?
No, I think it's more just in a row,
'Cause,
just
yeah,
consecutive games.
I mean, not to downplay that, but Wilkie has played every possible game since he's been drafted.
Through
He debuted
through
in
COVID,
round 1.
through everything.
Yeah.
And the
That's
people he's
unreal.
playing
Done well.
on, and
Yeah.
considering his size in comparison,
Yeah.
the bloke's body should
Like,
be broken.
I want to see his post game, like what he eats, how he just decompresses, he gets
Sits
his
in a
body right.
vat of watermelon juice or something.
He's got something, yeah. Adrian's asking, how can we look so different in setup and intent from one week to the next? I don't think the intent was different.
Yeah,
Like,
neither.
I'm going to challenge that. I don't think the intent. I think setup probably, but obviously you set up differently depending on who you're playing. So, last week Freo. I mean, to me it was Freo and Carlton almost very similar in that they've got some good forwards, gun midfield,
Good list. Not
Good
doing
list.
a lot with it.
coach, still question marks on them.
Yeah.
MCG factor, I don't know. Maybe we wanted to play a bit more aggressive.
To kind of go away from the question for a sec, I saw comments saying like, "Oh, we've sold a win by playing at the G." Like, I'm not buying into that because first of all, finals are played at the G, grand finals played at the G. We want to be a team that plays that ground well, and I don't necessarily think we're that disadvantaged.
We beat Collingwood there last year, and Essendon the year before.
I think we play well there. Like, it's just so easy to say that if you lose, you know. And it's not like we're going to like Darwin or China or something.
Yeah,
it's the G.
If you play with confidence, it changes the flow and the look of a game anyway, and that's what it is. Like the games that we've won, we've played with confidence, and it looks completely different to the games that we've lost. Whether it's the G or otherwise, it doesn't matter. Look at what the Giants do. They're a perfect example. They just travel all the time and they win.
Yeah.
JHNBA, perfect example. So,
and look, Fremantle, no disrespect, maybe a little bit, but they offered no resistance last week. None.
Yeah.
Carlton did. Yeah. Carlton came with as much heat as we were giving them.
They've just been
it's a completely different ball game. So
10 odd goals,
we can't just rock up and then it's all about our intent. It's also about execution. So you can have all the intent in the world, which we did, but if you don't execute, you're not going to get the win.
Yeah,
and we didn't do that. Chad is asking, is the deconing talk becoming or could become a locker room disruption? With the amount spoken about potentially going to one player, will this create a what about me situation? I don't think so at all.
I'd say, like, we talked about, the salary cap implications. I'm not worried about. The only thing I would have some slight concern with is, some sort of locker room disruption. I'm not saying it will happen, but I could see it potentially causing issues, considering, he would be the highest paid player by some margin. If he doesn't start performing next year, I mean, we saw what happened with Brad Hill, just with the fans. I'd be a bit worried about that. But as right now, it's not an issue.
I don't think so.
Next year, potentially. I hope not, though.
What would Naz be demanding right now?
Oh, I mean, obviously above $1 million, probably upwards of 1.3.
Just give him the checkbook. Yeah. Get him to write a number.
Upwards of 1.3.
I agree. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, he's what's he's in?
He's 20.
Fourth, fifth year. Playing the way he is right now. He'll be in the All-Australian squad at least. He's pushing for the team. He'll become in top 3 in our best and fairest, if not first. I mean...
And then the question is, what would you rather? Tom de Koning or keep Nazire? Now, obviously, that's not going to be the question at the end of the day, but if it were, I think everyone's answer would be the same. You'd rather give what Nazire wants, just give it to him, and then if the de Koning thing happens, it happens. If it doesn't, we move on.
I agree with that.
Because I think it's more of a disaster if we lose him than if we lose him and get de Koning.
I really don't think, with the Naz thing, money's going to be an issue. I think Port or Adelaide, everyone will offer him a buttload of money.
I think it's more Port.
It's just going to be, where does he want to play in Victoria or South? He's not moving to another Victorian club. It's just about, does he want to move home or is he happy to stay? And we'll see what he chooses.
I think I was like, would there be any scenario where any Saint would actually be okay with Naz going?
If we got Zach Butters.
If it was Butters, Bergman and a pick from Port, is that a consideration?
You wouldn't get a pick. You
Butters
get,
and
if we just got Butters and Bergman,
Butters is, when on his day, is the best player in the comp.
Yeah.
So you'd be okay with that?
I would 100% be okay with
what about
Butters
just Butters for Naz?
Just Butters for Naz?
Deal.
Midfield need?
I think Butters is currently a better player, but he's also been in the system for a lot longer. I think Naz has more upside.
Yeah, so...
What if we get Butters and de Koning in the same... A lot of hypotheticals here.
Can you imagine Butters getting a tap down from de Koning, just streaming out of the middle in the red, white and black?
And Butters is only
Let's move on. Next
24.
question. Next question.
It's nice to dream.
Let's find a good one. Logo John. Logo_John1. Yeah. More of a long-term question, but when do you think we'll become contenders for the flag? That is a long-term question, John. Logo John.
Well, it depends who we get in.
This off-season is going to be enormous.
Because we need a key defender. We need another key forward. And we need at least 2 midfielders.
Yeah. So a gun one and then a good, maybe a Bergman that can play halfback but wants to play mid, you know?
I would say genuine contenders, 2028. So 2 more years.
I think 27.
Yeah. 27, I think, will certainly be a finals contender. I don't know about premiership contention.
I think if we got the trades done, that we say all the hypotheticals we're thinking of, TDK, Bergman, let's not Aaliyah. Maybe we'll ignore the Butters one because that might be linked to Naz. Let's just say we sign Naz, yeah?
Yeah.
And we get all those instead. we nail the draft again.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
We'll have a spike, and then we'll have a Hawthorn. Like, I'm imagining like a Hawthorn-like spike next year, where maybe we make a run, maybe we make top 6, top 7, win a final, but then
27. Okay.
Then we go for it.
Yeah.
So 27 and beyond is my 20. I just don't have patience. 28 is just too long. It's 2025. We're going 3 years.
It pains me to say it.
Surely you can wait a few more.
I'm not waiting another 72 games. Or are you serious?
When you
I
put
can't be doing Saints TV Weekly with 70 weeks.
If the Saints ever win a premiership,
How many predictors are you going to go? And be like, we're back here. Grey hairs coming through. You know,
are you going to
like
retire after we win a premiership? Call it a day? We'll keep going. Your job's done.
I think I mean, I could easily just lock it in, but at that point, you're like back to back. You know?
Yeah.
Get a bit needy.
If only it worked like that.
I know. I don't want to retire and then we just go on a run and play some of the best
that would be
football you've
funny.
ever seen, you know? Which I think we're absolutely capable of, but 2028 he reckons.
We'll see.
And let's see if there's any we've missed here. Frosty Land is asking...
Sorry.
Frosty Land 21, honestly, Twitter or X, whatever you call it. Is it time for Darcy Wilson to have a spell at Sandy? His confidence looks shattered, completely different player to last year. Look, he's an interesting one because he's finding a lot of the ball.
Yeah.
It's just disposals, not really working for him. And I think he's playing more pure wing now than he was last year. I think last year was very much a high half forward.
Yeah.
And he got to play in the forward line and run up and back. Now, like, he was starting on the wing in this game and getting sucked into the contest. So I think he's still got a bit of craft to learn that.
The question is what's there to gain from dropping a player
That's what I
like
mean.
that? Like if he's 27, 28, fair enough.
It's a statement.
But as a young, it is a statement. But like, what's there to gain from dropping a player like that?
Nothing.
Because there's so much upside. It could turn around next week for him.
And that's the thing. I think credit to Ross. I think he hasn't really jumped the gun on those decisions where he could have easily done that. He could have dropped Burns 5 weeks ago. He could have dropped Garcia after subbing him, didn't, and he responded. And the same thing with Wilson. And Filippo, that was more an ongoing with Ross of like, do you want to go back and play pure mid?
Yeah, I was going to say Filippo last year.
That was different. And I think Filippo wanted to do that. And guess what? He came back a better player. So.
And I just think, like, this is why, it sucks to get smashed, but you don't just necessarily swing the axe straight away. Like, it's good that he's showed faith in the Wilsons, the Philippus, Garcias, etc. But no, Wilson will definitely be a big talking point in the predicted 23, but he will keep his spot.
Yep. And we will go with Lucky last, mainly because this name is just ridiculous. Oh, no, it's actually not bad. I've read it as Marshmallow Mateus, but it's Marshall Mateus. So it's probably not as ridiculous as I thought. Who's our ideal sub? Mine is a toss-up between Jones, Hasty and Clark. Don't mind Garcia, but rather he plays a full game, and it's certainly not Collard. Who is the perfect sub? Say it's a grand final. Full list. Who's
I'm
the
a
sub?
massive Hasty fan.
For the sub?
But Zach Jones for a quarter and a half.
Best player in
He's
the comp.
just something else. He's getting Brownlow votes for that
isn't he?
37 minutes of game time he has.
Brownlow votes per minute on field. He'd be
He changes momentum. He's a little firecracker. He goes out there and the energy shifts when he gets out there. Not for a whole game though, but for a good 40 minutes, 100%.
If we had Jones and Hunter Clark instead of Boxall and Garcia on Friday night, do we win?
I think the
full
midfield battle
experience?
would have been a little bit more competitive.
Yeah.
But I still don't think Boxall and Garcia were bad.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying experience over youth, what the difference would have
To
been.
answer
But
the
anyway.
question, I think if the grand final was tomorrow, we had our best 23. I currently have, like, with the best 23, everyone available, Max Hall as the sub. So there's that.
Well, that's junk mail. It's a frosty one there. Thank you, everyone, for sending those in. And now we move on. We move on to the banana peel game of the round.
Wet toast in the West.
Wet toast, 0-9 going into this off the back of
why couldn't
a
they
marginal.
just beat Richmond?
I know. When they lost, I'm like, that's the worst thing that could have happened.
Yeah.
But we can't be going into this with that mindset.
No, and to
Surely.
their credit, they have actually been...
They've been all right.
They've been decent for their standards the last 2 weeks.
Melbourne, they were okay for a half, got blown away late, and then this one they could easily have won it. I mean, they could have, but that chase down tackle was awesome. So
Why did that kid bounce it straight as soon as he got it?
panic.
Just-
Panic. Just MCG, saw the goals, 30 seconds left on the clock. They all
If
probably
he didn't
knew it.
bounce it, he could have had a shot.
Yeah. If it was Harley Reid, he probably kicks it.
Yeah, true.
But yes, this will be interesting.
Last time we played West Coast, Harley Reid laid that tackle on Wilson, didn't he? When he
At
got
Optus,
the
but we
goal.
played them at Marvel and spanked them. That's when
okay.
Membry kicked
That's
5 or
right.
6, I think. Yeah.
Harley's not too much of a problem this year. He's having
Although he was good against Richmond.
Yeah.
His form is very up and down. I think he's one where it's like if he starts to dominate like he did against us in that game
Windy.
in Perth last week,
Windy goes
you
for
can
him
put
straight
someone
up.
on him. But yeah, I wouldn't be starting someone on him.
I've
But,
heard.
I'd be
I've
more
heard-
concerned about Jinby.
Yeah,
Jinby's
he's good.
one of their better players.
Yeah, he's-
McGovern down back is excellent. Waterman up forward is excellent.
Yeah.
They've got some good, fantastic
Even
players.
Cripps. I love Jamie
Cripps
So
is good
efficient.
for his age.
Yeah.
Doing pretty well. But if you can shut those players out, you win the game because they just don't have the cattle to win games. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and obviously they picked up, was it Richmond players?
Liam Baker
Liam Baker and, Liam Baker. Yeah,
and
he's
Matt
all right.
Owies.
Yeah, Matt
who
Owies,
popped
forward
up out of
centre.
nowhere like a sprinkler, kicked 2 goals on the
Yeah.
weekend. He was good.
So, I mean, you'd imagine what are the changes going to be?
haven't gone over it yet, but
Potentially Hunter Clark.
yeah, maybe.
I don't think Zach...
You think
I mean,
Travaglia would
Mason
come in?
Wood if
Mason Wood will
he's
be in.
all right.
yeah.
You think Trav would come in for
Depends.
someone?
Do you favour Trav or do you go Jones?
I mean, Jones, he had 30 and kicked 3.
Yeah.
It's pretty like.
And this, to be fair, when there's a game, every year there's a game where he has just an out, you say he plays a good half, but there's always one game
Yeah.
where he absolutely just is best on ground by a mile. And this, to me, just big field, West Coast.
Yeah, West Coast.
He's
I think
fresh. I just think that's the game you bring him in.
probably
Give
not
Trav
happy
one
about
more.
getting on a plane.
Give Trav one more week
Yeah.
and then bring him in against the Suns at Marvel, maybe. It depends, though, if Boxall and Garcia...
Yeah, I'm just looking right now. There's not many I would be dropping. I
Yeah.
don't think we have any injuries. Mason Wood is most likely got to come back in.
I heard a whisper that maybe Dukes is sore with a groin, but I'm not sure.
Oh,
That was
would
a
be- that would
very,
be a bad out for
very
us.
light whisper from
Yeah,
someone,
okay.
but I don't know how true that is. And Higgins, I don't know if he was subbed off because of illness. I heard other things as well, so it wouldn't
Okay.
surprise me if he's out and Collard comes in
Jumps
from the
back
sub,
in.
and then maybe Trav becomes the sub.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Okay. Well, okay. From a big picture perspective,
Yeah.
we're sitting 4 and 5 now.
90.
Finals contention. I think if we wanted to be serious, we had to win that game. But we do win this. We go 5 and 5. How are we feeling about how our season's looking now?
Not too different to a week ago. I think I knew this next 4 weeks was going to be big,
Yeah.
and I kind of said I would be happy with 3 and 1 out of this. So either lose to Carlton or the Suns, but beat West Coast and Melbourne and beat them
Yeah.
well. Get that percentage above 100 again. That's
Yeah.
critical because we, as much as we can win all the games we want, at the end of the day, I don't want to be that team that misses out on percentage because we didn't belt a West Coast or a Melbourne when we had the chance.
Yeah. We've got to make a run now if we want to
Yeah.
be in contention later in the year, and I think it's a good opportunity. Start this week. Let's let's beat them comprehensively.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we're starting to beat the bottom teams comprehensively now.
Yeah.
We belted them last time. We belted Richmond. I think we're starting to have that edge where we're playing.
Not everyone can beat Richmond, but
Yeah,
that's all right.
he's still salty. This one over here. They beat us,
It's
mate.
funny.
It is
is.
funny.
It is funny. They lost to Richmond. I'm sorry. That is funny.
They'll win the flag.
It's like-
They'll win the flag, and we'll be like,
you still lost to Richmond."
that day. Is it really a flag season? I don't know.
I mean, the fact that they're 4 and 5 is with this list is ridiculous.
But I think getting a win on the road as well is understated.
Okay.
Travelling to the West is not as easy as people
Yeah, it's
think.
tough.
And
And
it's
yes,
the last slot, 4:40. With the last
we
game, everyone's-
love graveyard slots.
But this is
Sunday.
almost prime time because
Well, for us it
every other
is.
game's done. Everyone's going to be tuning in, going, "I think West Coast can upset
Everyone.
the Saints." That's what they're going to be thinking.
Yeah,
That's the reality.
it's true.
This is the week where if you are in tipping and you want to try and gain a position and be cheeky with which tip you go for,
I'm gonna check the
it's
odds
almost this
right
one.
now.
You know?
I think it's 236. Oh no, maybe 336 to 164.
Yeah. So the
In our
odds.
Top of my
favour.
head. Yeah.
Whereas
in our
most
favour.
weeks West Coast are $8. You know?
Well, I mean, West Coast have been competitive, which is
They're 325.
which is a little bit more than what they have been.
135. So it's the second game all year we've gone in as favourites.
Yeah, Richmond was the only other one.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think it's just. I mean, it's almost just that get the win and
Business trip,
No
go
injuries.
out there, get
No
the job done,
injuries.
come back to Melbourne.
I'll be happy with a 6-7 goal win.
Yeah.
Come back.
I think
and
last
then get
time
stuck in.
it was a good win, but we really didn't put our foot on the gas until the last quarter. So, and it's interesting. I want to have a quick conversation about this. We talked about at the start of the year. Well, I talked about a lot. Last year, the starts were terrible. We were starting terribly. This year, it's like almost the opposite. We're starting really well. Like even that Bulldogs game, the first 10 minutes, we looked great. And then we're dropping away big time. So, yeah.
And
like
it's mid-quarter. It's mid-quarter that we're doing it.
Yeah.
Like Carlton, we kicked 3 of the first 4, looked great.
Yeah.
By the end of the quarter, we're behind.
Yeah. You got to start strong and persist.
It's not even like we're dominating the whole first quarter. It's literally we dominate the first 14, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we concede 3 or 4 goals in quick succession and we're down. We're like, geez, it looked like a 5-6 goal win at that point. But this is a game where you got to take the crowd out of it. Like their fan base turns up. Like there'll be 40,000 there, maybe more. Especially because we're coming off a loss. They've been pretty good lately.
Yeah.
You know, they'll be thinking what a lot of people are thinking. It's like, oh, it was an upset. Could be a win. And law of averages, I hate bringing this up. But the more you lose, the closer you get to that next win. And they've lost 9.
Oh, that's why why couldn't they just win that game? But
I mean, the reality is, if you're an inch off in the game of footy, you're a mile off.
Look at Brisbane and North.
Well, exactly.
You know?
And unfortunately, North did a classic thing where they just couldn't close it out. But it shows you that if you're even an inch off, teams will catch you out. And it can go either way. West Coast can get anyone on their day, just as we can. So,
it's true. Anything else before we wrap up?
Just get the win.
100 points.
Honestly, just get the win. Play good footy. Actually, who cares what type of footy we play? Just win by 5-6 goals.
Just kick lots of goals and don't let them kick goals.
Yeah. Our record at Optus is, I think we've won the last 3 or 4 there. Funnily enough, and it's no surprise because this just is a St Kilda thing, but we've played like 7 of our last 8 against West Coast in Perth. So it's just one of those fixture things that, you know, like Port, we never have them come to Melbourne. It's always we go there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's frustrating.
But at least we've got a good record there, so hopefully we can continue that.
Let's get it done.
Yep. Get the win, Sainers. 5-5, and we'll see you next week.
Up the Sainers.
Go Saints.